So, I'm excited to really quickly just dive into the topic of authenticity over aesthetic. I think that definitely for the last few years, all of us, regardless of what industry we're in, regardless of what we do for a living, regardless of how long you've been doing it, like everybody has heard this word aesthetic be so overused. We've heard people tell us that we got to subscribe to a certain aesthetic and things are supposed to look like this. And, we've seen people online where it feels like everybody's house looks the same and we've just seen aesthetic, aesthetic, aesthetic. And what we are seeing now is you are seeing people who were once multimillionaires getting on the internet and boldly sharing stories about how they have lost it all. Like I'm talking about, these people are taking us on a journey with them as they rebuild. They are taking us on a journey with them in terms of sharing what happened, what went wrong. People are sharing all these things that they weren't sharing over the years behind this aesthetic that many of us fell in love with. And so here's the thing. And I have always, spoke on this. I've always stood by this, even when people was like, nobody is doing that and that's overrated. I have always felt like you need to show up online as your authentic self. Point blank, period. I don't care what you have. I don't care how much money you're making. I've always felt like you need to show up online as your authentic self. And I think that it is important because now, you know, it's these crazy economic times, crazy. And for me, as a Christian entrepreneur, y'all know where I stand on this. I'm following the kingdom economy, period. And while that is true, it's still things that because of the way that the world's economy is going, it still impacts you. It impacts you when people don't buy the way that they used to buy because then you may have to pivot. It impacts you when you got to change your business model. Like it's so many different things that factor into how you have to respond to the way that the world's economy is, right now. But I believe that we will never see lifestyle marketing again in the way that we knew it in 2017, 2018, 2019. And I believe that because so much has changed. So much has changed where you're seeing all these people, and it's coming out that many of them, not all of them, but it's coming out that many of them weren't really living the lifestyle that they were selling, to you guys. It's also coming out that people were making all of this money and pretty much like were not stewarding it well, and so they weren't able to keep it. And so I think that what people are seeing, I think what consumers are seeing is that, yeah, you might drive this car, but how long can you really hold on to the car? I think people are really realizing just because a person is in a certain space does not mean that they're going to be in that space forever. And all of this makes me so very thankful that I go to the Lord for my business strategy. Because when I tell y'all, God be so ahead, like God be so ahead. Like I stopped with the whole lifestyle marketing thing well before COVID. And not because, oh, I see where it's going. Yes, my marketing mind had some ideas about where I felt like it was going, but ultimately the Lord spoke to me about marketing in a certain way, and now that's not the popular stuff. Like people want to purchase from the creators that are real. People want to purchase from the creators that are really sharing what's going on in their lives behind the scenes, how they're responding to things in the economy. Like people don't want all this stuff with this aesthetic. Like they do not. They do not. And this is not me saying that you should show up to social media looking any kind of way and, your house should be unkept. And, that's not what I'm saying. But people want authentic. They want to know what's going on behind the scenes. Again, they want to know how you're responding to stuff. They want to know how you feel about stuff. And all of this was shown to me when I started opening up last summer about my handbag company and what happened with the flood in 2022. Now, mind y'all, there were plenty of people who knew about that, like people that in like my close community. Of course, like my friends knew about it. Certain family members knew, but it was a lot of people that did not know. And when it came out, people were like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that you experienced it. I never would have not like I did not know you were going through this. I can't believe that you were going through this and all of the inventory had just been delivered and then it like people were shocked." And that showed me just how good we have gotten as entrepreneurs at forgetting that we are human. Like it took me years. Like this flood happened in 2022. And after it happened, I was going through so much where I would have these moments where I would get back up and I would be excited about creating again. And then I would just have these moments where I would be down again. Like, oh my gosh, like, how did this happen to me? God, why did this happen to my business? Like, I would be so just like, how did this happen? Like, literally, like, just right before my eyes. Like, that's what people don't understand. I was literally walking to the warehouse, like opening up the warehouse door because another delivery was coming, and I saw the building flooding. So it's like, imagine you're not just hearing that on the other end of the phone, you're seeing it with your everything that you have worked so hard for. You are seeing it be ruined with your own eyes. Like and the day after it was delivered. What? It's insane. And so, all this time I had been wondering, like, why can't I just stay up? Like, how come, you know, when I get back up and I get excited to start creating for my brand again, why does it feel like I get sad again? And, I start remembering like what happened and, who is outside of my house driving bikes? Living in the city is crazy. But, I would be like, why can't I just stay up? Like, why can't I just stay motivated? And it took going through therapy, because I had to go through therapy with still going through therapy, specifically, regarding this and bringing this to my therapist. But it took me years to really admit that experience sent me into grief, and it also was something that caused me to be slightly depressed. And it's weird because, I think people think sometimes that depression and grief is only associated with certain things. They look at you as a business owner and be like, girl, you got all this stuff to be thankful for. You have never seen hundreds of thousands of dollars that you just invested in get ruined right before your eyes. So it's just crazy. It's like when I started to open up about that, I watched the Lord, and here I was thinking people don't care about this. Like, don't nobody want to hear no sad story, especially a story from years ago, that I didn't open up about. And when I tell y'all, like, God brought me customers from near and far, like people who never purchased before, but they heard my story, a story of resilience. Like, literally, we called the series riches to rags to redeemed, because that's what happened. I was at the top of my game, super successful, like handbag brand within less than a year, on its way to being a 7-figure brand. Like, just, I'm talking about wildly successful, getting grants and all of the things. And then it all comes crashing down. But God, He restores, He redeems all of the things, but He wants us in a place of authenticity. So I hope that this blessed y'all. That's all I can say. I hope that this blessed y'all.